So it is true. My name is Jake Schwencke. Schwencke. Fun to say, hard to spell. It's a vaguely European last name. It's like one of those that has like 4 C's, and the C's change position every time you try and spell it. I always loved my name, Jake Schwencke, but I grew up with a sister who hated her name. Her name is Taylor, and I grew up with my parents saying like, oh, come on, Taylor Deanna, it's beautiful. Taylor, which means to cut. Deanna, which means divine or goddess. You're a cutting goddess. So naturally I'm like, oh, what's my name mean? Jake, as in like the biblical Jacob. And they go, no. It's just Jake. I was like, oh, okay. So I Googled, naturally, what the dictionary Merriam-Webster definition of Jake is, and I'm just gonna read it off for you now. Jake meaning a sexually immature wild turkey. So thanks, Mom. So then I went down the rabbit hole, and it turns out Schwencke comes from the German word Schwenken, which means to swing back and forth. So, Jake Schwencke, I'm a sexually immature wild turkey, but at least I'm packing. So I love my name, but like many white boys from New Jersey, my Ancestry.com is very much like a bag of Chex Mix. You take a scoop and you're like, is this just a pretzel? And then you take another scoop and you're like, no, just a wheat thin. And then one more bite and you're like, oh, maybe that's an M&M in there. I don't know. So bland. But I grew up wanting an accent. And that was because I grew up in a family full of accents, and that is not because my family is bilingual. No, they are the farthest from it. But my 2 parents, they come from different sides of the East Coast spectrum, as I like to put it. So my dad, he grew up in Bay Ridge, so he's from Brooklyn. So everything he sounds like this is at the front of the mouth. And I remember thinking, I grew up in New Jersey, this is how all the New Yorkers talk. But then all of a sudden my Uncle Vinny from Queens came in, and he's got the Queens accent, it's up here. But my dad's down in the front of the mouth, which I didn't realize, this is the Brooklyn accent, and the Queens accent up here. But then all of a sudden Uncle John's from the Bronx, and the Bronx is back here. I'm like, oh, there's so many accents, but then there's my mother. And my mother's from New Jersey. So there's a whole spectrum of people over there that talk like that. And it was a big deal when my mom dragged my dad to New Jersey because they had very different opinions of how I should be raised. And my dad thought that I would be a wuss if I didn't grow up in the streets. So I'm in the suburbs, and I literally remember it was my 5th birthday, and he stands me up on the couch and he goes, you gotta be tougher, all right? You gotta learn how to strangle people, just in case. So here, I want you to put your arm around my neck, all right? And I want you to squeeze until I can't breathe. You know, I've got my arm around his neck, and he's going, I can still breathe, Drake, I can still breathe. And my mom comes in, she goes, Bobby! By the way, that's another thing with New Jersey people. After every sentence, they keep their mouth agape to catch flies. She goes, Bobby! What are you doing to him? So anyway, I had a lot of characters growing up. A lot of characters, a lot of accents, so that's why I have no accent and no personality. I'm kidding. I channeled my own expressions into something that I thought, I could take less responsibility for as an actor, which was great. By the time I was 9 years old, I was a child actor on Broadway. I had a full-time adult career by the time I was 10. And by the time I was 27, I had a midlife crisis and took an intro stand-up class. I'm fine. No, I'm kidding. But I did grow up on Broadway booking shows where a time step and a good shimmy was my bread and butter. And then I turned 14, and my parents had this bright idea that we should enroll him in public high school in suburban New Jersey. So I show up to my first day of public high school, and it's this claustrophobic Axe body spray smelling hallway, and I show up with jazz hands, and to my surprise, no applause. And at the time, being an actor definitely meant you were gay. And 14-year-old Jake was like, what's slander? So I I remember desperately wanting a male friend. I had a ton of female friends, but I really wanted a male friend because in the movies, that's what everybody had. True. Oh, my high school friends are here. Hey, girls. I remember desperately wanting a male friend, and we played video games together. And then I remember actually had my first male friend because he liked movies and he asked me about my auditions. And I said, yes. And so we start hanging out, and I'm like, this is amazing. I want to be just like him all the time. Me and him, we're gonna hang out all the time. We're gonna spend all our time together. I want to be with him all the time. I want to be with him. Oh. And you know how they say sexuality is a spectrum? No, I started to understand those non-believers bisexuals don't exist because I tried so hard. I was so jealous of those true bisexuals. I would have held on to that 10% straight for the life of me. But no, Jake is a 100% sexually gay, immature turkey. But apparently I'm a Schwencke, so I'm past